Welcome to Midlife Matters. I'm Marie, and each week I'm joined by my friends Julie and Mindy to talk about all the topics keeping women in the middle years up at night. Today we're talking about boomer moms. We all know them, love them, and secretly hope we don't turn into them. But my friends, it's inevitable, so join us as we share stories and laughter over the ways we might be becoming like our mothers. Let's get started. Listeners, today we're talking about turning into our mothers. And how many of us have seen our mothers do something or say something, and we've thought to ourselves or even said out loud, I will never do that. And fast forward a certain amount of time and we catch ourselves doing the exact same thing. Has this ever happened to you, Mindy or Julie?
Oh, yes. I feel like I'm right in the middle.
Yes.
Like you can see yourself starting to do things with your own kids. And then you hear it from your mom too. And now my mom lives with us. So like, I'm just right in the middle.
It's
funny.
My parents came to visit and my kids were like, oh yeah, mom, like you look just like Nanny. Do that. So even like my facial expression or whatever.
Yes. I've mentioned before that sometimes I've looked down at my arm or my leg. I'm like, that's my mom's arm. That's my mom's leg. How did that happen?
That's right.
So yes, we do turn into our mothers, not only physically, but also in the way that we act. And it makes me smile because I know that my daughters are secretly saying, I will never do that. And I can just about guarantee that they will.
I know, that's what I want to say is as funny as all this is, one day, millennial mom, you will be this woman too.
Yes.
That's right. That's right.
So we got this idea from an Instagram account that we have mentioned before on Midlife Matters, but her name is Call Me Kristen Marie. That's the name of her account, and her name is Kristen Knutson. And she, I think, has a 1-year-old. I think she started this maybe boomer mom reels and little spoofs when she had her first baby a year ago, kind of as a way to get through her first year of motherhood. And I like her because she's not mean about it. I've seen some other people that do this kind of thing, like about their mother-in-law or different people, and they're just plain old mean. But this is all in good fun, and it's so true. Like I watch one and I'm like, oh yeah, I can totally see my mom. So she's always making fun of boomer moms. And so none of us are boomer moms. I mean, I'm a Gen Xer. Julie, you're not a boomer, are you?
Well, some people put my birth year in, like I'm right on the cutoff. So
okay, well, we're not going to call you a boomer mom for this. I picture boomer moms like my mom. She truly was a baby boomer. So like, I'm not a boomer mom yet, and I can totally see my mom in these little Instagram videos, but then I can start to see myself too.
Well, and I want to say I watched a YouTube video, I think it was an interview, maybe that she had done on like the Today Show of her with her mom, because everybody always wants to meet boomer mom, you know. And she said, just so you know, I have a great relationship with my mom. I think my mom was the best mom ever. We had a lot of fun. And so this is not mean-spirited, because some of the comments sometimes say, you know, quit being mean to us, but she's not. And I don't take it that way.
Right.
She's just pointing out things that are so true.
I know. I even told my mom that we were going to talk about this. And I said, Mom, if I say something about you, don't get your feelings hurt. It's because it's universally true.
Right.
You know, I'm not talking about you necessarily. It's just
true.
Right. I would say you run into boomer moms all over the place. And so you see them at the grocery store and, you know, I see them at workout class, and it's so fun to just be lighthearted about it because my kids are making fun of me all day long. And I know that like, there's things that I do that can be made fun of. So yeah, all in good fun.
Right.
I think if you can make fun of something, that means you love them.
Right.
You know?
So this is a real casual episode. We don't even really know where it's going, but we told each other to kind of pick out different ones that she's done and then say why we can see ourselves turning into that. And so, Julie, since this was your idea, what one really struck you that you can see yourself turning into?
Oh, there were so many, but I think the number one would having to be thinking of worst case scenarios. And I love it how she says, you know, oh, you're going skiing? Well, you know, my dad's cousin got paralyzed doing that. Or, oh, you're driving up north in this weather? oh, you're going to California? Aren't they due for a really bad earthquake? And then she always ends it with, but have fun. And then I looked at the comments, and this one lady said, yeah, I have a 2-week-old newborn, and we were taking him outside on a couple of the nice days, and my mom reminded me of the dangers of hawks.
Hawks.
Like they could carry off a baby.
Scooping down and getting bays out of their carriages.
Hey, yeah. She didn't want to lose her grandbaby.
That's right. And the mom said, well, can you imagine the guilt if you didn't warn them and something bad really did happen?
Oh my.
Yes.
Oh my.
And then I looked at some other comments, and one girl said, yeah, the running joke in our family is that no matter what you announce you're planning to do, Grammy knows someone who died doing it.
That's too funny.
Okay, so that's me. I'm turning into that when I hear my kids want to take a trip, especially if they want to travel. And I love to travel, but I don't want them traveling. Mm-hmm. And this really hit home with something with my mom. Do you guys remember the Natalie Holloway story?
Yeah.
Oh, she was a high schooler that was killed in Bermuda Aruba.
Or in Aruba, yes. Yeah. So she took this trip, like a senior trip with some other girls and parents, chaperones, and she disappeared one night, and they still haven't found her body. I think it was 20 years ago, and it was in Aruba. And I think my mom followed that case very closely, always telling me all the details. And I think to this day, if I told my mom that we were going to Aruba, that's the first thing she'd tell me was, that's not a safe place. Natalie Holloway got murdered there.
Oh, yes. I'm sure she probably would.
I mean, it just sticks, like that place is a marked place.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Oh my goodness. This is so true. One of the jokes in our house is we can't go anywhere after dark.
Yeah.
Because that's when all the bad things happen. So if it's dark outside, you really need to stay in the house.
Okay. Well, what if your mom lives with you now? Because one night I went out, it was not dark yet, and I ran a few errands, and then it turned dark and I still wasn't home. And then I pulled into the driveway, and I was actually listening to a podcast and I wanted to finish it. So I sat there till about 9:00, and it was not long until I get a call. Julie, where are you? It's dark. Bad things happen after dark. So it's just funny that, I've got my mom, I'm 57, and I got my mom checking up on me because it's dark.
Right. I wonder what'll happen in the winter when it gets dark in Tennessee at 4:30.
Yeah, I won't be going anywhere.
So Julie was just talking about we talked about the after dark thing. So a couple of weeks ago, my parents were visiting, and I was talking to them about walking on the thread. And my mom is genuinely concerned about me walking on the thread. And so I'm trying to describe it. She just said people get abducted all the time while they're walking. And so I'm trying to tell her, like, there's old people out there all the time, like sweet old people walking their dogs, and, it's very visible, and I don't take any side roads. And so she just is, gently making sure I'm going to be safe, because she loves me and she wants me to be safe out on the thread. So
yeah.
Julie, I'm surprised you get to go hiking.
Oh, well, I'm constantly reminded, you don't do that alone, do you? No. Like, oh, you're not going in the woods today, are you? And
that's right.
Even the woods right here in West Haven, she wants no part of it.
Right. Oh, okay.
That's a universal thing for sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. One more thing, though, before we move on, is anything snow adjacent causes great anxiety in our family. Oh. Now, Marie, it might not in yours because you're from New York, but I remember when it snowed, my mom would just panic having to think about going to work the next day and that, because people aren't used to it. And oh my gosh, I'm the same way. Like if I hear that my kids, if it doesn't, I like it to snow on a Friday. Because then you have Saturday and Sunday. But if it's snowing on a Tuesday and I know my kids have to drive in it, I really come undone. Like the thought of that, or, now that they don't live here and it's snowing and then they want to come over, I'm like, no, just don't risk it. It's just not worth the risk.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I can see that. Yeah. The roads just are not well treated here, so it is definitely more dangerous. All right, Mindy, what did you look at and see? Oh, that kind of sounds like me.
Okay. Well, Marie, you told me about her a little while ago and said that you and your girls were kind of laughing about it. And so the first one that caught my attention was the truest, and it's all the questions. Mm-hmm. It's the boomer mom. Like the daughter is trying to explain something that happened, and the boomer mom is asking all these detailed questions, about who she was with and, what she talked about and like any surrounding detail. And the daughter keeps getting interrupted, like by the questions. Well, this is me. Like, this is also my mom, but this is also me. So that's really what turned me on to the boomer mom, like Instagram page. So I've been following her since the whole questioning thing, because my kids are always like, Mom, so many questions. So I do have to tell myself, like, okay, don't ask, let them tell you. And so now I tell them, because I can't keep it in. I'm like, okay, I'm going to ask questions if you don't tell me all about it.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you do a good job of telling me, I won't ask questions.
You're giving them a chance to do the right thing.
Okay. So this is so funny. I don't know if this happens in your homes, if you're watching a movie with your mom, but literally every time we watch a movie, any kind of suspense or like something that has to be worked out, that won't come together till the end. I'm telling you, my mom is like, what? Like, have you seen this before? Like, what happens? Is she okay? And she is genuinely concerned.
I think she kind of does a movie one on her Instagram about the mom interrupting the movie.
Does she? Okay.
She's multitasking, I think.
Oh man. So my mom is so sweet. And so we're watching it and I just smile and I'm like, just watch.
I haven't seen it either, but you're ruining the suspense by your questions.
Just watch.
I'm probably guilty of that myself.
Oh my goodness. I do, like, when my boys they're really into, like, I call them gory films, but they're war movies. They are genuinely like historic war movies. I don't watch with my boys because I can't handle it. I can't handle like the mom losing her son to war. I can't, it just pulls, it's too much. So I leave the room. I go for a walk. I don't watch. I just don't, because I would sit there and I would be like covering my ears. I would like hide my face with the pillow.
That's distracting.
I can't. I'm like, I know myself. I'm not going to watch.
All right. Well, one that caught my eye, and this happened to us when we were expecting our first grandchild, and I see it happen to other families too. And so it's like your boomer mom coming up with 10,000 different nicknames for grandma. And this didn't happen so much with me, but it happened with my husband. And he's like, you can call me G Daddy. You can call me Papa this. You can call me. And in the little spoof on Instagram, she's like, you can call me Jigsaw. You know how much I love jigsaws. You can call me, like, she comes up with, what do you think of that? All these weird names for grandma. And in the comments, it's like, what is it with this generation? Nobody can just be grandma. And right. I don't think I know anyone my age who is having a grandchild who is just grandma. Julie, do you know anyone?
No, not really. I mean, I know a Honey and a Winnie and not related to grandma at all.
No.
This conversation was playing in my head yesterday as I drove down the road. And I thought how rare it is to hear the word grandma. Yes. And I was like, I'm going to be really, really bold and out there when I become a grandma. And I'm going to have my grandkid call me grandma. Because there's no other ones. It's going to literally be old school.
Yeah. Well, in the comments, someone said, my mother-in-law wants to be called Nana Llama Ding Dong. Not joking. I don't understand that. Nana Llama Ding Dong.
Okay.
She's just going to get ding dong.
I know.
And then here's another thing. My dad wanted to be called Chief, but my nephew struggles to say the CH sound, so he is Beef.
Oh,
that's kind of cute, though.
Yeah,
that is cute.
What a lot of the comments said were probably the kid is going to come up with the name. you know, in a lot of cases, like you can have a name, but then it's probably going to get modified or something around what the first grandchild calls them. If it's too hard, especially to say, then it's probably going to get modified.
I might be getting this wrong, but this is a friend that you and I think we all three know, and I think she wanted like Winnie Pooh or something, and she's just Pooh, like poo poo, and then it goes. You know, how do you stop that? Like, that's just
right.
How can we squash this?
Yes.
I've been training this child from birth, and it came out with Pooh. This was a generational conversation amongst the women in my family, because my Mima was Mima to the first set of grandkids.
Okay.
Well, there was a second set of grandkids that came several years later, and she decided she wanted to be called Granny.
Oh.
And I'm like, who's Granny? This is Mima. So there's literally like my cousins and I. Okay. And there's like almost 20 years difference in my cousins. All right. This is so funny. So then Mima told my mom, when my mom was becoming a grandma, how sweet it was to be called Granny. And so my mom tried to teach Abby to say Granny, and that's where Nanny came from.
Oh,
she couldn't say Granny.
Okay. Yeah. So see how it came about? Yes.
So the woman has 3 names now.
She's she's extra though, totally. And she'll agree with me when I say that.
Yeah. The last comment I'll read is, my dad wants to be known as Cool Guy, and my mom has changed her name 60 times. So it's clearly a thing. Women do not want to be called grandma, but we cannot decide what we do want to be called.
Yeah. That's cute.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyways, if you're out there struggling, you're not alone.
No. And all the names are so cute. So don't hear us. And if you heard your name and we were laughing, we love it.
Oh,
okay? Yeah. It's such a beautiful thing. So you enjoy that, Pooh.
Yes. Okay, Julie, what is another one that you thought, ooh, I think I see myself?
I think my kids probably see me this way. The point of view was, you're hanging out at your boomer mom's house who never eats. Well, I eat, y'all. I do. But I'll say things like, oh, I'm not really all that hungry for dinner, since we ate lunch. And the kids are like,
classic.
When does lunch cancel dinner? Like, Mom, we still need 3 meals a day. But if I ate a big lunch, it's like, hey, let's just don't do dinner.
That's totally a boomer thing, Julie.
I know. And on vacation, I know I was really good at like just pulling out a granola from my purse and thinking, I had lunch. Let's just keep going. Or, here's some nuts, you guys. Just want this handful of nuts tide you over, My kids are like, Mom, we have got to stop for lunch. We're starving. I'm like, even my daughter, it wasn't just a boy thing.
No, I know.
And, when they're here, I'll try to skip meals and they're like, nope, we got to eat, Mom. We got to eat. And I love on the Boomer Mom Instagram, she'll offer to split her granola bar with her hungry daughter. Like, well, here, you could have a bite of my granola bar. Yeah. And she said, and if you're really hungry, we could split this cutie, those little tangerine things.
Oh my God.
And then she said her mom wasn't all that hungry, so she saved half the cutie in the fridge.
It's too funny. It's too funny.
Oh my goodness. Okay, this is totally my parents. Both of my parents, now that my dad's retired, he's changed over. Like he used to not be this person, but now that he's retired, he is this person. But they eat like one big meal a day, and it's in the middle of the day, and then they're not really hungry for dinner. Well, I'm noticing that I'm gravitating towards that.
Yeah.
And so is Bryce. Like given, by myself, when I can just choose whatever I want, I feel better if I eat one big meal a day.
Yeah.
And then I'm not scrimping off of dinner though. I'm going to have a snack. I'm still a snacker. So the snacking has not left my body.
No.
But it's getting there, I think.
We'll all get there.
Or cereal for dinner.
Yeah.
Cereal sounds good. Yeah.
And they're always amazed when they open the fridge, like, what is in here? There's lots of condiments, but there's no real food.
Yeah. I remember my grandmother used to eat an egg white omelet. Okay, that had to have been like 50 calories total for dinner.
Right.
I would have been in such a bad mood by a half hour later.
Oh,
I need some food.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I'm full from my egg white omelet. What is that?
Right. I know. Why would you throw the yolk away? That's too much work. I'm too lazy.
And there's probably nights when she only ate half and put the rest back for breakfast.
It's crazy.
So that is an interesting thing to think about. What's in our grandma's fridge, what's in your mom's fridge, what's in your fridge, what's in your daughter's fridge, your son's fridge. I mean, that's a whole nother conversation.
I used to hate that my parents froze all their bread. Like you would go over there and if you were going to have a sandwich, yuck, who wants to eat it on frozen bread? But once all my kids moved out, it's like nobody's making lunches often enough. I have to freeze the bread. Yeah. And then my kids were like, why is the bread all frozen? Because if no one's here, then it's just going to go bad. So I can totally see. But this is funny about almond moms, and this goes right along with it. So my son, he sent this out on our family group chat the other day. It's like a picture, and then it's written across it. It says, "You have an almond mom? I have an ice cream mom. It's 6 p.m. and she states she's hungry, but a restaurant sounds too heavy. Just an ice cream cone will do. We didn't have lunch." And Isaac hates it when we go on vacation. And I want to either substitute ice cream for lunch or dinner. It's like, let's go out for ice cream. And he's like, that's not a meal.
Do you know how many calories that is, Isaac? That is a meal.
So I just thought it was so funny when he sent that out, because I do that when we're on vacation. I'm like, let's not have lunch today. Let's go to Ben and Jerry's.
I mean, right? Because you can't eat ice cream after a full meal.
Right.
Like you're too full, but you want to enjoy the ice cream.
Yes. So anyways, they pick up on these things about us.
That's hilarious.
Just pull the almonds out of your purse and say, here.
Yes.
Here's your good fat and protein.
Right.
Dinner for everyone, right?
Yes. All right. Well, Mindy, what's one that you saw?
All right. We had a funny family situation that happened not long ago when one of my younger cousins got married. Okay. So now that I'm near my Georgia family, which is so fun, I got to attend her wedding. Well, my other cousin has a small toddler at the time. And the dynamic between the toddler running around, pitching a fit because he has to be in a wedding. He doesn't want to be in a wedding. He doesn't want to wear these clothes, like the whole bit. He is over it. They've been through the rehearsal dinner the night before. He's just like, let me out of here. And the oldest of the crew was sitting on the porch swing. All they could talk about was how if that had been their child, they would have beat that child or put that child in timeout. Okay, so the topic here is the boomers versus the millennials on gentle parenting.
Yes.
The older women are talking about how they would beat the child. Okay, literally, they're going to beat the child. Well, I'm in the middle and I'm just like watching. I'm listening to them. I'm watching the young mom run around distracting, trying to bribe, like it's all these poor woman's worn out. Okay. And I feel like I'm somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
I really was like, okay, I could see myself sitting around like, oh, that child just needs a nap. I would say that like, he just needs a nap. Like he's just being 2 or whatever.
Right.
But I wouldn't beat it. I'm still not at the like beating.
Right.
But I'm like, okay, can we just like, you want some chocolate? Like, what do you want? Like, how can we get what we want out of this kid? I'm not above bribing.
Right.
Well, plus we're in public. So
yes, you're in public. And so her video is so funny because she really talks about the millennium mom and how they're worried about, they're creating these bad tendencies by putting a kid in timeout.
Yeah.
Whereas timeout was okay for us, like that was the better way to handle it instead of spanking. Well, I say use it all.
Right.
Yeah, I think she's worried. They show the millennial mom putting the kid in timeout and she's like, oh, I just Googled it and I read that they're going to have abandonment issues and they're never going to make connections with people. And, where did I go wrong? And,
oh my goodness.
And the boomer mom's just like, spank him and put him to bed.
Who comes up with these things? Oh, okay. Well, so I know you guys might not do this, but I definitely do it sometimes, and I know my mom does it. So it says, point of view, your boomer mom scrutinizing multi-million-dollar lakeside properties. So she's on a boat looking at all these beautiful homes, and it's like, well, I mean, sure, that's beautiful, but it's not for me. It's not really my style. Well, who would want to heat all that? That is just too much to clean. And I find myself doing that too. It's like, okay, we find all these negative things about these clearly beautiful homes. And you're like, what do you want to dust all those rooms? No, thanks. And one put, my mother does this judgy wealth shaming thing. Who needs that much house? Also, ostentatious is one of her favorite words.
I love that word. So ostentatious.
Yes. So
our family says those houses are obscenely large.
Ooh.
Right. This one says, my boomer mom loved to say about expensive homes, looks cheap. Couldn't be argued with because she didn't explain. Boomers never explain.
And I love they always end with like, well, to each his own,
right,
like they
right.
try to leave it on a positive note,
Yeah. And this one says, my mother used to say anytime we purchased anything that she thought was a bit too much, well, you can buy 2 of everything you want, but just don't ask me to help you pay for it. Never once did we ask her for financial assistance, but it was her way of saying she didn't approve.
Yeah. No.
So it's just too funny. Like as if we wouldn't take one of those homes. We just. So yes, if we find ourselves falling into that trap, we can think back and say, okay, come on, younger generations are looking at this very negatively.
Uh-oh.
All right, Julie, what's something else?
Okay, your boomer mom and her obsession with the weather. Okay, so that is definitely true for my mom, but I'm following right along. Mm-hmm. So it's so funny because, the boomer mom has her glasses down on her nose and she changes her voice and she's just hysterical. And so she's looking out the window. Oh, no mistake. That's a rain cloud coming in from the west. Oh, it looks like the Smiths are going out for a walk. Don't they watch the news? And then this is the one that got me. There's rain in the forecast today. Better call the kids. So I find myself like when there's a severe thunderstorm warning or a tornado warning, I call my boys like, hey, heads up, guys. And it's coming your way at 6:36. So be in your safe place.
Oh my goodness.
I seriously do. I call, and then after the storm passes, I call them to make sure they're okay.
Oh, that's too funny, Julie.
And now that my mom lives here, I feel like I have my own built-in weatherman. I don't even have to consult my app anymore because she tells me when the rain's coming. And she has a friend that tells her. It's funny, like she'll call and say, hey, Helen told me there's a storm coming at 3 today. And it's like, she's always right.
Oh my goodness. Helen is the weatherman.
Yeah.
She's more trusted.
Yeah, it's funny. So we talk about the weather a lot.
Oh, that's too funny. Mindy, what's another one that you saw?
Oh my goodness. Okay. I thought this was so funny. So sometimes Kristen does boomers versus Gen X versus millennial videos. Mm-hmm. So this is one of those. Mm-hmm. And it's basically the boomers, Gen X and millennials receiving a phone call and how they each react.
Yes.
Oh, that is hysterical. I love that
this one. This is not spot on. I tell you what, this is so true. Okay, so first of all, let me just mention ringtone. It is very loud.
Yes.
In the older generations. And always on. Okay? Right. Every phone call is answered.
Every phone call is an emergency. Like, can you not let it go to voicemail?
Yes. In fact, I do feel bad calling. My mom and I are in different time zones. I do make sure that she's up, which she usually is, but I don't want to call too soon because I know her ringtone, it's going to make her hair fall out and scare her to death. And then she's going to answer even if she's half asleep. So, and then with me, my phone's always on silent, always. And I'm like, why are they calling? I'll just text them.
Yeah.
Like, I totally fit into that Gen X.
Uh-huh. Or like someone's name popped up and you're like, why are they calling? And you put it back down.
Yeah, is this an emergency? Like, what's up?
It can only be bad news if they're calling.
I know. Bryce knows he has to call twice before. I'm like, oh, okay. He wants to talk.
It's important.
Okay, so then millennials, not that Abby necessarily fits into this age group, but she's totally like her phone. It shows. I can tell when I text her, like all notifications have been silenced.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that little thing is on there when I text her, and she might text back that day, but sometimes she doesn't text people back till like the weekend. But she's like, she'll hide her phone, or she won't be near it, or she really is just like, and she loves you, and she'll get back to you eventually. But there is nothing. She's so far from urgent with the phone, like so far.
Okay, one that I saw, and Julie, you can probably relate to this, and Mindy, I'm sure you will end up relating to this. Okay, It's Boomers versus Millennials Baby Clothes Edition.
Yes.
And I am Gen X. I'm not Boomer, but I have run into this. So you have a grandchild and you want to buy them fun clothes. Colorful, you want to have little characters on them. You want them to see something that's probably maybe a little wild or out there, obnoxious, but they like it and you want to buy it and you want them to have the fun of wearing it. And you learn really super quickly that, okay, the only thing I can buy is pajamas because none of the clothes that I buy are going to get worn unless they were specifically on a baby registry. Because it's, and Kristen says this in her Instagram. She goes, yes, my child is too a victim of the sad beige wardrobe.
Yeah, she has a hashtag, sad beige baby.
Yes. Oh, that's so all funny. The babies are beige. You don't know if they're girls or boys. They're just all beige. So anyways, finally, a few months ago, I have a 3-year-old granddaughter and a 1-year-old granddaughter. And the only thing I could buy was pajamas. This is how I kind of got around it because I wasn't allowed. Abigail was like, my kids are not going to be one of those kids that wear like a dress up outfit to the grocery. So like I couldn't buy like a princess outfit because she finally last October, I showed Pepper a princess movie, got her excited about that princess, and then said, do you want to be that for Halloween? So then she had a Halloween costume, and then it became a dress-up clothes, and then that opened the world to Mimi buying more princess clothes because Abigail saw how much she enjoyed it. But anyways, it was a long process. Oh. But now with my 1-year-old granddaughter, it didn't take as long because Abigail finally said, oh, Chapel needs some play clothes. And I said, I'd buy some, but I never really know, like, are you going to have her wear them? And she's like, you can just buy whatever you want. I've given up on the beige, like I've given up on that one color scheme. And I was like, what? This is so great. Oh, if I see something on sale, I can buy it.
You've been let loose. Oh my goodness.
I know. And so it's just so funny. And so I didn't know when that would end. I thought maybe it wouldn't end. And I'm not saying like in this Instagram, the woman buys like this gingerbread sweatshirt for Christmas. And then she's like, well, maybe you could have him wear this in their family Christmas card. I'm not under the illusion that any of my clothes are going to get worn in a Christmas card or in a family portrait, but they will get worn for play. And I am happy about that.
I love how she says the kid's going to go colorblind if they don't see some color.
That's hilarious.
And I love this comment in the comment section. It says, well, when you dress your 80s, 90s kids like clowns, you're obviously going to get some pushback when they're adults.
And that's true.
Yeah, because they wore hot pink and you know, all these wild colors and
yes. I don't know how many pictures I send my kids. Well, my girls, my boys never care, but of like of them when they're little, they're like, Mom, why did you dress me like that? I'm like, that was the clothing that they sold.
Gymboree. It was wild.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. That's so funny you mentioned you dressed us like clowns because I was an 80s kid and I was all over the hot pink and the turquoise situation. But do you remember the clown outfits, the clown suits? Like it was like the jumper.
Yeah.
With the loose legs. My Aunt Jenny made one for me and it had the big lace collar. And it had
you're a literal clown.
It had the pleats and the whole bit.
The more ostentatious the clothes, Mindy, the better.
And my hair had been crimped and bangs had been teased, and it was gorgeous.
The pendulum has swung.
Very much so.
But if you are a new grandmother and you're wondering when you can buy that Rudolph with the red-nosed reindeer Christmas sweater, wait a couple years and you will be able to buy
it. Maria, I like how you carefully went in there and got the buy-in of your granddaughter to change her mom's mind. You couldn't change your mom's mind. Pepper had to change her mind.
Yeah. The other day I showed her a ballerina movie and then I was like, would you want Mimi to order you a ballerina outfit? So now she's gotten to the point where she will say, I want this. Mimi, can you order it? She just thinks that's how you get things.
That is adorable.
But anyways, I ordered very pale pink. It was not ostentatious.
Oh, good job. Good job.
Yes. All right, Julie, what was something that stuck out to you?
All right. So this one is your boomer mom needs to give the backstory for every gift she gives you. This made me laugh so hard because I feel like I can hear myself doing that on Christmas morning.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm usually the one sitting next to the tree, passing the gifts out. We do the whole one at a time. You know, everybody takes their time. And when I hand the gift out, I give them the whole story. You know, like, don't open it yet because I need to tell you. Now, I got this like last year when we were on our trip to so-and-so, and it was in this cute little store. And I know back then, you know, you were interested in this. I don't know if you'll like it anymore, but here, you know.
That is totally me.
I know. Or I loved this when she said this, and I've done this before. Now, I got everybody in the family one of these. Now, I like it, but I don't know if you'll like it so much. But I got it because I like it. Or, you know, I got this in this little store here. It's not your usual style, but I hope you'll be able to use it. And I do that. And I think my mom does that too. So.
And it's so personal, Julie. You got it on a trip. Like, there's no way they could take it back.
Oh, right. This came from Scotland.
So here's your gift. And it was something you were interested in last year. You might have changed your mind by now, but.
Right. But I put so much thought into this.
Yes.
That's the point.
That's what we want you to know.
Yeah.
I know it's no fun for boomer moms to buy presents for grandkids that have now gotten so old that all they want is money. That is no fun for them.
There's no backstory in that.
No.
They have really, like, my mother-in-law, my mom, they're both like, what can I get them?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
right.
It's hard. It's hard.
For sure. Okay, Mindy, what was something else that you saw?
Now that my dad has been retired for long enough, she did a video on the boomer dad, and I was like, okay, this is funny. My dad, and it's basically the boomer dad. Every time he comes over, he finds projects that he needs to fix every time he comes to the house.
Mm-hmm.
So this has been going on. I mean, my dad was military for years and years and years and years, and then very active. And was retired civil service for 20 years. So he was retired twice from the military. Well, he likes to relax, but also he needs a constant project. He loves to be busy, and his love language is just helping.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, making lives better. And I'm going to couple this, his need for projects and longing to help fix things, with also her video that she did about ongoing relationships with all the animals in the yard.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to put these two together for my dad, because his favorite thing to do when he visits our house is kill coons.
What?
That's his project, because we struggle in our neighborhood with coons raiding our trash can, and it's all the neighbors.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I can't tell you how excited he was. Like, they were here for probably 5 nights. The first night, the coon didn't take the bait and get caught because of something. So he adjusted the trap, got it all ready. First thing next morning, he goes out. Before he's even he hadn't come up to see anybody or get his coffee yet. He's checking on that coon. And then he found out there was another adjustment that needed to be made. He made adjustments 3 times. Finally, his last morning, he caught it. And I'm telling you, so happy.
Oh,
so
what's he do with them once they're dead, Mindy?
I just don't want to tell you.
Leaves them in the woods?
No.
He kills them.
Well, yeah, no, I'm saying once they're dead, what does he do with their bodies?
Oh, they get buried.
Oh, they get buried? Okay.
They get buried.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness, that's funny. Well, you definitely do not have a raccoon problem anymore.
I mean, if we do, he's coming back.
Yeah. Don't mention it. I wish my dad would do that with the moles. Now, why doesn't he do it with moles? That would actually be helpful.
Oh, yeah. Because
I don't think you can kill a mole.
No, I know. But it would be great if they did do it with moles.
I feel like my dad has talked about things that he's done in the yard for moles. I'll have to ask him for you.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Something that happens to me, and maybe you guys have the comments for this, but it was so funny, and I can't find it right now. But at point of view, when your boomer mom can't say Chipotle.
Yes. Chipotle.
Chipopoo-poo. Chipucha. I mean, they name it anything. But that happens to me. Okay, so it happens to me with things like Enos. Okay, but I always want to call them emos. Those hanging things, the hammocks between trees. Or it took me the longest time. I still have to hesitate. Is it GIF or GIF? And I inevitably would mess it up in front of my kids because I was trying so hard to get it right. Like, there's different things that I just can't say. And my parents do this too.
Oh, yeah. We just introduced my mom to Venmo.
Uh-huh.
Got her the app so we could, it'd just be easier with her living here to exchange money that way. And she was like, now where does that money go? Where is it on Bimbo? Bimbo. And every time she's like, what is it again? And I'm like, so I spelled it for her. It's like, she still has trouble getting that one right. So we laugh about it.
I know, but it's a thing. Like when you're young, you can pronounce anything. Yeah. And when you get older, it's like, how did they even come up with a random name like Venmo? I've never had that in my lexicon before. And now I'm supposed to remember that at 87 years old.
I know. I tried to think, what does that come from? Vendor, money? Like what? Right. Something I could get in her
like brain, the etymology. Yeah, the root word. Okay, so we had a situation with my mother-in-law, and y'all, we died laughing. She came to visit, and she was talking about burpees, and we were like, "You're doing burpees?" And then, and then she's trying to explain. So she's like, "No, everybody's excited about burpees," and so like we tried to stop at one.
What is it?
Buc-ee's.
Oh, Buc-ee's.
She said we tried to stop at one. Everyone's been telling me about burpees. I wanted burpees so bad. And we're just like, what are you talking about?
Well, if you're Googling burpees, you won't find it.
Yeah, we are so confused. Okay. Finally, somehow in the conversation, and when it was vague enough that we were genuinely confused.
Yeah.
And so then when it finally came out that it was like, the big gas station, like everybody's talking about burpees. Mm-hmm. And we're like, oh my goodness. We died laughing about burpees.
Mm-hmm. But it's true. The older you get, the more out of touch with the lingo. And
yes.
It just doesn't come naturally.
No. All right, let's all do one more. Julie, what's the last one that you have?
Okay, this was a pretty common one, but when your mom is is in a conversation and she's telling you about someone, like, do you remember Bonnie Wimberton? She sat behind us in church every week, and they brought us a meal when you were born. I'm surprised you don't remember her. You were a baby. How would you remember them? But I think when I noticed that I started doing that was when we were planning our kids' weddings, because I would want to invite these people, and they were like, who are they? But I think that they should know them. But the boomer mom would always say that in the end, the whole reason that you're describing this person in great detail is to say, oh, they died. Like you wonder, like, where is this going? And now you finally know they're going to tell me that they died. Mm-hmm. And, the facts or the attributes that they give them are usually wildly unhelpful. You know what I mean? Like they don't, like the things that they choose to remember, and it's usually physical attributes.
Uh-huh. And it's not jogging your memory.
No. And it made me laugh because this was something that there was a girl that I was friends with in elementary school, and she had a very common first name. And I knew several, I wouldn't even say her name. I knew several people with her name. So it was always, the girl with one kidney. And that ended up being like how we described her.
Yeah.
Yes.
I know her.
Yeah, we have those in our family too.
Yeah. It's just so funny, like, oh yeah, the person that, I don't know. It's just kind of
the one who threw up in second grade? Oh yeah, that one.
Yeah, like some horrible thing to remember them by, but that's just what yeah.
Right. That's so funny. Okay, Mindy, what stuck out to you?
All right. I love the boomer mom that's the neighborhood watch. The one that can tell you which cars are there at which houses for how long and at what times. Oh, there's a new truck over there. I've never seen that truck before.
Yep.
I'm going to go for a walk today and check that out. So this is my mother-in-law. And it is so funny. I actually always thought that it was because she lived on a farm. And then when she visited us in the city, there were so many people. She was so fascinated to people watch. So she would come to our house. All right. So not only is she seeing all these new people, but she wasn't working. So she had the time to watch. So literally, like, she tells us the rundown of the neighborhood every time she's visiting, because that's her exercise, is she goes for daily walks. And we get to hear all about how many deer she saw. So again, the ongoing relationships with the animals, and then all about the cars and any project that anybody's doing on their yard or house.
Yeah.
So we know.
Yes, they could write a newsletter on the neighborhood.
It's so cute.
Oh, I did some screenshots of just a couple, like, your boomer mom packs literally everything in her purse. And I didn't know that was only a boomer mom thing, because I do that too. Like, if my kids need something, chances are, they all come to me. Even Steve's like, "Do you have a Band-Aid? Oh, I'm hungry. Did you bring any snacks with you? Do you have any ibuprofen? Do you have any gum?" Like, everything is in my purse. And everybody knows it. And so I could totally see myself. And in the Instagram thing, the boomer mom, she's pulling out half a banana. Well, it's still good. I mean, I don't go that far, but
she couldn't eat it all for lunch.
Yeah. But if you need fingernail clippers, tweezers, ibuprofen, a Band-Aid, anything, like, moms have it. And I think that might be a generational thing. And then another one I thought was funny was when you go out to eat with your boomer mom, and she shows in the video how they are shining the bright light on the menu because it's a dim restaurant. And I'm not a boomer, but even if I have my reading glasses on, sometimes it's so dark, I have to shine my light on the menu. And like, Steve and I will both be shining our light on the menu, and it makes us feel so old. But we can't see, like, I can maybe read what the entree is, but I can't read, like, well, what does it include?
The fine print.
Yeah. So it's just too funny that she sees that.
And the bad part is when you leave it on and my kids are like, "Mom, your light is still on."
Oops.
Or they have to pull everybody at the table. Well, what are you getting? Well, what are you getting? Well, is that good? Yeah. Have you had that before? Well, maybe I should change mine. And I can't order without knowing what other people are getting. And
that's usually the first thing I ask too. What are you getting?
I know, it's so fun to ask that, though.
I know.
But there's more questions, Mom. Stop with the questions.
Because then if they tell you what they're getting, you might say, well, why did you choose that?
Yeah. Don't you think you need some vegetables? No.
I think it was on that same one. She had gone to the bathroom.
Oh, yeah.
And she said she invited the single girl that was in the bathroom to join him at the table, but she respectfully declined.
Right.
She goes, well, she looked about your age, so I invited her to join us.
That is so sweet.
Yes. So if you are not following Call Me Kristen Marie, you need to. And I mean, you would not think that this type of thing would have such a following, but she has almost 200,000 followers on Instagram. 200,000 people are finding these funny, and they are hilarious.
They are.
Keeps you laughing, keeps it light.
It does. It does. Okay. All right. Well, listeners, we would love to hear from you on how you're changing into your mother, because I'm comforted by the fact that I'm not the only one that this is happening to. So come and find us on Instagram at Midlife Matters Podcast, or you can email us at midlifematterspodcast@gmail.com. But before we go, we want to do I'm a Fan. All right, Mindy, what are you a fan of this week?
I am a fan of getting out of your comfort zone and volunteering somewhere. I am so excited to be able to volunteer at our women's center here in town. It's always been something that I've wanted to do. I've never felt like I had a place that I could do it or room in my schedule, but I can't tell you how much joy it is bringing me to be able to go into the center and do something completely different for different people that I would never come in contact with. The people that I'm volunteering with, the service to love on young moms that might be in a crisis situation. It's hard, but it's so, so good. And I'm just very thankful to be able to be in this capacity at this time in my life.
Oh, that's great, Mindy. That's really good.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Julie, what are you a fan of?
I'm a fan of a running shoe. It's a trail running shoe, and it's Altra trail running shoes. And I bought the Rivera too. And I like them because they have the zero drop. I think that's the right word for it. So your heel is lower than, kind of like a Chaco Fits.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have like the big platform. Your heel is actually lower. And for me, that's just a comfortable, I just like that feel in a shoe. So that's my second pair. I just changed styles, but I really like them.
Oh, good.
Wow.
So if you're looking for a new walking, running, hiking shoe.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. I am a fan of a podcast, and I haven't listened to all the episodes. I've listened to half the episodes. I think there are maybe 10 or so episodes, but it's called, I saw it advertised on a Facebook group, Wilder. It's about Laura Ingalls Wilder, and it's about her writing of the books and things. And of course, they have to make it into kind of like, did she actually write the books? And, some politically correct things, but it's also just interesting. I always just like to hear whatever about that. So it's just kind of a real easy listen. I think I'm about halfway through. And it's about her daughter and, maybe just how the books got discovered and the time period they were written in. And it has been some controversy over whether she wrote them or her daughter wrote them. But I think the podcast is landing on the fact that she wrote them and her daughter helped her edit them. But anyways, it's just interesting because I think we've all read the Little House on the Prairie books. It's such a universal experience. And so the podcast is just kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
sweet.
I would like that.
Yeah. If you just want if you're driving or something and you just want something real easy, it's kind of a fun listen. So I'll link to that in our show notes. Julie and Mindy, too bad we're all changing into our mothers, but at least we can laugh about it.
That's right.
That's right.
And I had fun laughing with you today.
It was fun. I want to hear from our listeners.
Yes. This is a fun topic. It'd be cool to hear.
Yes. All right. We'll talk to you next week.
All right.
Sounds great. Bye.
We're so happy you joined us today. You can find the show notes for this episode at midlifematterspodcast.com. Also, please tell a friend about the show and help them hit the free subscribe button on their favorite podcast app. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at Midlife Matters Podcast. That's where we post pictures and stories about all the things we talk about in each episode. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.